When you can't make it to City Hall or the school board meetings, local journalists from Duluth News Tribune will be there to report the facts and get your questions answered. Local news works for you. Stay up to date at duluthnewstribune.com.
Hello, Northlanders. It's Friday, May 5th. I'm Wyatt Buckner with your Duluth News Tribune Minute, presented by Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union.
The average MPECU member saves over $785 a year in better rates and lower fees. And with MPECU, every ATM is your ATM. With their free checking program, you get ATM fee reimbursements at any ATM anywhere in the U.S. Check out Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union's services online at mpecu.com or visit their offices in downtown Duluth, Arrowhead Road, or Miller Trunk Highway.
It's Friday, and if you're looking for some fun weekend ideas, Duluth News Tribune arts and entertainment reporter Jay Gabler has some options in this week's Best Bets.
This weekend marks the climax of the 25th annual Duluth Homegrown Music Festival. That'll be big news for music fans, but there's more happening in the Northland. Here are a few other highlights. This weekend marks your annual opportunity to take a look inside the former church in Duluth's Central Hillside neighborhood that is now home to the Great Lakes Academy of Fine Art, where students study for 4 years in an intensive apprenticeship system where they learn figurative painting and drawing. That's when you do paintings and drawings that actually look like something and aren't just abstract. I love it all, but if you like to see a painting and a drawing that represents an actual thing in the world, well, you can take a look today, Friday, and tomorrow, Saturday. They're having the annual Student Instructor Exhibition at the Great Lakes Academy of Fine Art. Looking to get out of town? Maybe get in a sauna? Maybe get in 5 saunas? Well, this is your opportunity. Sauna Days are happening. It's the annual Two Harbors Festival featuring Finnish food, live music, bonfires, craft beverages, and saunas, including guests from out of town like Sauna Magic author Garrett Conover, as well as Scott Carney, an expert on how human minds and bodies react to environmental stress. There's a little bit of that going on these days, so if you want to find out more about that, you can check out Best Bets at duluthnewstribune.com. One more event to mention this Tuesday, Foreigner. The band is going to be in town. That is nothing super new. Foreigner has played here pretty often, but what's special about this gig is that once again, they're going to be partnering with students from Denfeld High School. They're going to be joining the band on, of course, its massive #1 hit single, I Want to Know What Love Is, from 1984. That's the song that knocked Madonna's Like a Virgin out of the top spot. And the band likes to play with local choirs when they tour around the country. And so Denfeld students will be joining the band as they have previously at the Deck on Tuesday. Tickets are pretty pricey if you can get your hands on them secondhand, but this is your opportunity to see Denfeld students sing with one of the biggest groups in rock history. For more information on these and other events happening in the Northland this week, check out duluthnewstribune.com. I'm Jay Gabler.
Now here's a look at today's headlines. Construction has started on St. Luke's 3-story addition to its Building A in Duluth. The expansion, which will add 82,000 square feet of cardiac and intensive care inpatient rooms, is expected to be complete by the end of next year. The $58 million construction will be added on top of Building A. In addition, the healthcare system will transition all of its hospital rooms into private rooms with updated technology and finishes, and will demolish the Northland parking ramp on East 1st Street, then rebuild it. St. Luke celebrated the beginning of the new projects with a tree planting ceremony in front of Building A on Thursday afternoon. Nick Van Deelen, St. Luke's co-president, CEO, and chief medical officer, said the projects are the second phase in St. Luke's Health Forward initiative, which began with the original construction of Building A. The total investment of the 3 projects in Phase 2 is $72 million. Mike Boslager, St. Luke's Vice President of Support Services, said the projects are on budget and on schedule from the original plan, which was announced to the public last May. Dr. Scott Mikesell, interventional cardiologist and cardiac catheterization laboratory medical director, said the expansion is an amazing step for cardiac patients. The addition to Building A will consolidate St. Luke's cardiac care into one building, with the ambulance deck, air care deck, emergency department, cath lab, cardiac floor, and cardiac rehabilitation all together. The new $14 million parking ramp will be state-funded and city-owned. It will have 323 spaces and is expected to be complete in spring 2024. It is funded by a grant St. Luke's received from the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development for infrastructure in 2019. During the construction of the new ramp, there will be an employee shuttle to make up for fewer on-campus parking spaces. An intoxicated man allegedly held a gun to the head of his ex-wife and threatened to kill her in the presence of her granddaughter and a school bus transporting Hermantown elementary students. Gary Robert Holter, 75 of Duluth, was charged Friday in state district court with 5 crimes in the April 27th altercation outside the Timber Ridge townhomes. The situation was described by police as fluid and dangerous, as it happened in a busy location and prompted the bus driver to call 911 and leave the area. A criminal complaint states that Holter drove to his ex-wife's apartment on Timber Ridge Lane behind Walmart around 4:30 p.m. The victim came out with her granddaughter to speak with him, at which point he allegedly stated, quote, "I'm going to shoot you dead," end quote, and pointed a pistol at her head. The woman screamed and ran behind a vehicle while the grandchild went back into the apartments to alert other occupants, the complaint states. Hermantown police caught up with Holter in his vehicle and placed him under arrest. Asked if he knew what happened at the victim's residence, he allegedly acknowledged having a gun in his pocket. A field sobriety test placed his blood alcohol concentration at 0.19, more than twice the legal limit for driving, according to the complaint. The Hermantown Community Schools bus was coincidentally in the area at the time. School officials said last week that the driver saw Holter with the gun, backed up, and called 911. The driver dropped off students on a different part of the route, and then returned to finish the route once police gave the go-ahead, Superintendent Wayne Whitwam said. Holter is charged with felony counts of second-degree assault and threats of violence, 2 gross misdemeanor charges of driving while impaired, and a misdemeanor count of carrying a pistol while under the influence of alcohol. Unconditional bail was set at $500,000, or conditional bail at $300,000 with requirements that Holter refrain from possessing firearms and undergo mental health and chemical dependency assessments. Joining us now is Dan Williamson with sports.
Thanks, Wyatt. Each high school sports season, the Duluth News-Tribune recognizes high school athletes by selecting all-area players of the year. For the winter sports season, selections are made for girls and boys hockey and girls and boys basketball, along with selecting a number of athletes for all-area teams in each of those sports. You may remember the hockey recipients were announced recently. For girls, it was Ilse Lindemann of Duluth Marshall, and for boys, Cole Christian of Duluth East. Now from hockey to hoops. The basketball recipients were announced last week, and both suit up for schools on the range. In girls basketball, junior guard Jordan Zubich of Mountain Iron Buell averaged 26.5 points and 4.5 assists per game, helping the Rangers win their first state championship in program history. She'll play Division I college ball at North Carolina, but she still has a senior high school season to look forward to.
Overall, I think the team just did a really good job of sticking together and just making sure that we all had confidence in each other, and I had confidence in myself, the coaching staff. That was probably our biggest thing, just having confidence in ourselves, always be us.
Quite a school year for her family. The MIB football team won a state title in December. Her dad is their head coach, and her brother was the quarterback. In boys basketball, junior guard Isaac Asima led Cherry to their second straight state semifinal appearance, averaging 21 points per game, 8.8 rebounds, 6.5 assists, and 2.6 steals this season. One of his goals was to win the All-Area Player of the Year award.
It's amazing. It just feels good to be rewarded because of all my hard work. I know I got to keep putting in more work, but it's just a big accomplishment. Like last year, I wanted to win the award. I didn't get it, but I kept working all summer for it this year.
Asima will play Division I hoops for the Minnesota Gophers in the future, but he too still has a senior high school season to go. You can read more about Isaac and Jordan in the prep sports section at duluthnewstribune.com, as well as see photos, videos, and all of the selections for the all-area girls basketball and all-area boys basketball teams. Congratulations to all of the selections. Wyatt, back to you.
Thanks, Dan. Now here's a look at your forecast, brought to you by the News Tribune's Northlandia podcast.
Duluth weather forecast for today: an easterly wind around 10 to 20 miles an hour, putting some areas of low clouds and fog into the Duluth Harbor area this morning, and a high temperature only around 50 degrees. We'll likely see a little bit of sunshine, but mostly cloudy today. For tonight, scattered showers developing during the overnight hours. Could see a little bit of fog forming as well. Overnight low around 40. Again, that wind out of the east around 15 to 25. Showers likely on Saturday, gradually diminishing, but a cloudy, wet, perhaps foggy at times day, with a high temperature only in the mid to upper 40s. Sunday also, rain showers likely, with temps in the low 50s. I'm Storm Tracker meteorologist John Wheeler.
Thank you to the Northlandia podcast for their support. The weekly podcast explores curious and unique stories here in the Northland. In this week's episode, reporter Joe Bone shares the story of Bluther and Razzleberry, the homemade and now retired mascots for PBS North. You can find that episode Saturday at duluthnewstribune.com or wherever you also get this podcast. Reporting for today's episode was done by Laura Butterbrodt and Tom Olson. Thank you for listening to the Duluth News Tribune Minute. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here Monday.